Hello, Shumai. Hi, just let me update my little computer here, see if I can see you all. Albert's going to start barking now because he's wondering who I'm talking to, isn't he? All right, Albert, come on. Come and see who it is then. Who am I talking to? You can't understand it, can you? Come and say hello to everybody. Look, everybody here. It's very strange virtual life, isn't it? Very confusing for dogs. Let me know if there's anybody watching here and I can see. Could you let me know if you can hear me, because I've got a posh new microphone. Look at that. With a lead that seems about 20 foot long. Could you just give me a thumbs up if you could hear me okay? Is there any sound to be heard there? Let me just see. Yeah, oh, it's okay. There we are. It's all good. Right then. Hello, everybody. Croeso. Here's a Welsh word for you. Welsh word of the day. Croeso. Welcome. Welcome. And you heard me use another one earlier. I'm not very good at Welsh and I don't speak Welsh, but just some Welsh words. Shumai. Hello, how are you? Croeso. Welcome. So today we're going to be doing this little art class for primary age children, and we're going to be using acrylic paints, as you've seen me if you've watched any of the previous ones. And all the previous ones now are available on my website, helenelliott.net, 2 L's and 2 T's, under free resources. And they are free to watch and they'll continue to be free for as long as we need them. So we're going to be using acrylic paint. Like I said, you'll know all about this if you've watched previous ones. I'm going to be using a yellow. It doesn't matter what yellow you've got, a red and a blue. And again, it doesn't matter what red and blue you've got. I use something called magenta. That's because it's what's called a processed colour. That means it's the same kind of colour that you get in your 3 ink printers at home. And that means, of course, that you can print out any colour that you like, just using these 3 colours. And equally, I can paint any colour I like just using them. They mix really well. I've also got a black and a white. Okay, I've got some cardboard, because as you know, I love to paint on this. It's super stuff, you know, it dries really quickly, it's free, and you know, the other nice thing about it, as I've said before, is when you're painting on cardboard and you're using resources that you haven't got a lot invested in, they haven't cost you too much money, you can feel freer using those things, can't you? And the more freer you can feel in doing your art and playing about and having some fun, the more likely you are to get some results that you'll enjoy. So cardboard's great because it does, yeah, it dries quick, it's nice and stiff like that, and yeah, we can get it quite easily. I'm just going to put that one under there for now. So this one I'm working on now, this sheet is about, hi Peter, hello. This one's about what they call an A3 sheet, so I'm guessing that's about 30 centimetres by 50. You can cut out your sheet to whatever size you like. I like them quite big like this because you can see what I'm doing. Hi Kerry, hi. Today, because it's been quite hot here and muggy, you know that word, muggy? Means when the sun's not actually out, but it's very hot, you know, and you feel really warm. And there'd be nothing nicer on a day like this, well, apart from a big ice cream. The only other thing that would be nicer might be to be on a boat trip out at sea. Could you imagine? Anybody been on a boat trip? Yeah, have you seen? Whoop, have you seen boats going out to sea with people on them? Sometimes near where I live, they go out to sea, and you can go and you can have a little trip and go and see dolphins, if the dolphins are there, that is. Or you can go out and you can do fishing, that kind of thing. So I thought that would be a really nice thing to draw today, because we can imagine that cool breeze on us. So for those of you who've joined me before, you'll know as well that a big thing that I like to ask people to do when they're doing this art class is to use a lot of imagination, yeah? And that's why I just close my eyes then, because sometimes it can be easier to get in touch with our imagination when we've got our eyes closed, can't it? Because there's a lot of visual sights coming into our eyes, a lot of information coming in like that, and sometimes just to shut that out, it can make it easier to imagine things. So the first thing I'd like you to do is to not watch me just for a moment, okay? Close your eyes. Yeah, you too, Peter. You too, Kerry. I'll see you at the back. Close your eyes and think about how it would feel, okay? How it would feel to be out at sea on one of these boats. I want you to imagine it's a beautiful, calm sea. The waves are just very gently moving under the boat. There's a breeze coming off the sea and it's very cool. It's lovely on you. In fact, you've got a nice light little jumper or a cardigan on and the breeze is just coming onto you and you feel great, yeah? And you're looking out onto the sea and it's all sparkling. The top of the waves are all sparkling and you're looking to see if you can see anything in the sea there, and you're looking a little bit over the side because somebody said there might be dolphins around here. So you're all looking out, you're looking this way and you're looking that way, you're looking to the front of the boat and you're looking to the back of the boat. Okay, you want to slowly open your eyes now, you can imagine that scene, yeah? Okay, have you got in mind what colour your boat might be? What colour do you think? So, right, we'll start to paint it, shall we? First, as you know with these acrylic paints, people who've watched before, we just like to put a bit on, but I've got a problem today because I've nearly run out of paint. Look, there's nothing. I'm squeezing that and it's not coming out. It's a good job it didn't, could you imagine? But no, I've nearly run out. So, big tip here, if you think you've nearly run out of paint, there's always going to be some more in the tube. So instead, you take this pair of scissors and carefully, don't cut it sort of there like that at the end, because then you'll have to stick your brush a long way down and you won't be able to seal it up again, but just cut it in half there in the middle. I'll show you now. Look how much paint is still in there. Wow. And the good thing about cutting it in half like that, if I don't use all the paint that's still in there, that bit then will slide into there and seal it off. I'll show you when we come to the end. So what I'm going to do is get... You know I like quite a big brush, don't you? I'm going to use one of my super brushes. This is my absolute favourite brush. It's almost a flat brush. Do you remember what I told you how what the brushes are called? This is called a flat brush, isn't it? Can you see that? That's about the size of my thumb, a bit bigger. That's one of my favourites, but look how big this one is. So it's flat because it's not pointy, but it's also called an angle brush because it's cut off at an angle. So you can use that bit to do very, very fine detail and this bit to do a really big area of paint. This is by a company called Silver Brushes and they're lovely handmade ones and I really love it. So if anybody wants to buy me a birthday present anytime, anybody? There we are. So what I'm doing is I'm squeezing this straight out of there, the bit that's left, yeah, onto there. Wow. There we go. So that's the top of my sky there, isn't it? Do you remember? There we go. When we're thinking about sky, yeah, and we're doing the background, oh, I love the sound of the paint on here. Listen. Oh, I've got the microphone. We can do this anywhere. You hear that? That's nice. And look how the cardboard makes some really beautiful effects as well, doesn't it? So I've just put the blue just across there. And do you remember now what I was saying? I want you to feel the sky, feel it, feel how light it is and fluffy, you know? And then we're going to pop a bit of white. I think we're having the same problem with our white paint today. We go. I'm going to have to cut that one as well. In the middle, like I said, not at the end, because you wouldn't get your brush all the way down and it's easier to get into the paint that's there. And then that just goes on to there like that, you know, and you can seal it up again then. So that's a good tip, isn't it? Right, here we go. Look how much paint was in there. And that might have got thrown away. That can just go on there. So we're starting to think about fluffy, fluffy clouds. And if you watch the lesson here on Wednesday, and you can go down, scroll down and see it again, you'll see that I actually did this bit last time, the sky, with a baby wipe, didn't I? And we got some very nice effects with that. But this today, I'm just going to use my favourite brush because I love it so much. And it just makes me feel like painting. Oh, look at that. Can you feel the breeze coming off that sky now? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to stand that in some water because I'll be using it again in a minute, so I don't want to take the paint off. But with acrylic paints, it's really, really important, if you are using these kind of acrylics, to know that they'll dry really quickly on the paper or on your apron, so make sure you wear something to protect your clothes. And they'll also dry very, very quickly on your brush. And if you let them dry quickly on your brush, then it's very hard to get the brush to work again, and it can end up like that. And it can be bin time for Basil, which is not what we want because we like to reuse them. Right, just bear with me a minute. I've got a big lead on here and I'm just going to step over this bit here. I'm just going to the corner. Hey mums and dads and anybody else who's interested in painting, I've got some very exciting news coming up. I've got 5 new online classes coming up soon, details of which I'm going to be putting up on my website and on my Facebook site on the 1st of May. I'm still working on them and I'm really excited, so I can't tell you a huge lot now, but just to say one's going to be for absolute beginners. Yep, okay, right now, sea, okay, so we're going to, let's go for a little bit of a greeny sea today. So do you remember to mix green? We're going to have a little bit of yellow, aren't we? And look how much paint was in there still. A little bit of blue. Yeah, come on out. Come on, blue. Out you come. There we are. And I'm going to use this brush again, which has just got a little bit of water on it now, but it's still got the white. So having white in anything is going to make it a lot lighter, isn't it? That's good. Okay, right, here we go. So now I'm putting it on and I'm thinking sea. Can you see how those waves are coming already? So I'm just going backwards and forwards. I didn't mix that colour all like that together and then spread it out. I'm mixing the colour as it spreads, because that just makes it a lot more interesting and you get lines in your waves like that. If you find, you know, that it's warm like it is here, your paint dries quite quickly, just pop a little bit more water onto it and keep on. Go on top of it. Acrylic paint, it's going to remain workable for, depending on the heat that you're working in. This is only about 2 minutes now, but you can just keep putting a little bit of water onto it like that. There we go. So as you're painting the sea, I want you to think sea. Think a nice calm sea, you know, and imagine that breeze coming off the sea there. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like as well, you know, the lines that are left. Can you see that the cardboard's left lines? They'll make a very interesting texture to the scene and a pattern. Talking of texture, I've got a little bit of old bubble wrap here, one that I've resisted popping all the pops on, and I'm just going to put that onto there like that with the bubble side down and just give that a nice press while the paint's still a little damp, yeah? And pull it off. Let me see, and do that again. The paint's probably just a little dry. It needs to be a bit wet, the paint, for this to work. Yeah, it's working there, that's it. And again, can you see that's just an old scrap of it, and it doesn't matter if it's not the whole length of your picture. You know, if you've only got a little bit, you can put it on and take it off. So what I'm going to do now is just paint a little bit of paint onto here. Just do it flat there. There we are. Oh, that looks delicious like that. It looks like a big octopus. What about that? That's good fun, isn't it? So I'm just going to lay this on there. That was just done with that brush that I've been doing the sea with. And then pull it off. That's the effect I wanted. Yeah. Sometimes if the paint's still really nice and wet, you know, you can just do that without painting onto the bubble wrap. But because my paint had started to dry, I've just had to paint onto it again. And now again, look at this lovely sea colour we're getting, just with the yellow and the blue and the white just all mixing naturally together. It's a beautiful, what they call turquoise colour, that. You can see how all these colours are mixed, aren't they, just from those 3 paints. Beautiful. There we are. Ah, off it comes. Look at that. It's so beautiful just like that, isn't it? So we're just going to let that dry. And you can see this is a little bending a little bit, isn't it? Do you remember I told you that's just because it's wet at the moment. When that dries, that'll straighten out. But if it does bother you, what you can do is you can just put a little bit of water, just paint with clear water on the back there, like that. And as that dries, then that will, as that goes into the paper, it will tighten that side up as well. So no problems with that. There we go. Okay, right, let's just be letting that dry, and let's grab this bit of cardboard here. Like I said, because I can see my video on here that's being recorded here, but I can't actually see the questions so much. I'll try and look. If you have any questions, please do post them, and I'm more than happy to answer them after this. I just can't actually see them all at this time, but it's delightful to see there's 54 of you watching. Hello everyone. Give me a little thumbs up if everything's okay. Thank you. Ah, that's really nice. Yeah. Okay. So, as I was saying, cardboard is wonderful, and because it's just, you know, it's free, it's firm, you can go over it. And the other thing I like to use with cardboard as well is say thank you everyone, thank you so much. It's chalk, yeah? So I chalked here, I chalked that Welsh word, didn't I? Croeso, welcome, and a little face there. But because now I want to use the cardboard for something else, look at this magic trick. There we are. Chalk, it's brilliant. When I went to school a long time ago, we didn't have computers, we had chalk and a blackboard, and that's what the teacher used to do with a cloth or something called an eraser, rubbed it off. So what I've done now is I've just got this bit of cardboard here, and I want to demonstrate to you what I'm going to be drawing on here, just while this is drying. Okay. All the paintings that I've been teaching little ones, primary school, children and older, you know, I do it myself. If I need to work out how to draw something, a dolphin or a boat or a person in the boat or a fish, I always break it down into the simplest shapes possible. So by simple shapes, I mean something most people can do. Yep, a square, okay, a triangle. And it's almost worth getting yourself another bit of cardboard like this and having it to the side, so that when you're thinking about how to draw something, you know, if you're thinking about how to draw a dog or a horse, think about which of these shapes you could use. So do these for yourself, yeah? A rectangle, okay? A stick, a sausage. There must be a technical name for that. A jelly bean or a sausagey shape. It's looking like a face, isn't it? A semicircle, okay, which is like a circle, but it's half the circle, it's just half of it. So there it is, semicircle, yeah. What else? Something called a parallelogram, okay? And this is how you would do that. It's sort of like a rectangle, like this one here. Yeah, like that. But you just kind of cut the corners off it like that. Can you see? And then you get rid of that. So like a diamond shape, or a parallelogram is another word for it, I think. Yes, okay, so we've got a square, a triangle, a stick, an oblong, a sausage shape, a semicircle, and something that's actually really quite hard to draw exactly, but you don't need to do it exactly, a circle. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And sometimes if it's a really complicated animal or something that I'm drawing, I might even go for like an egg shape, which is like an oval, like that. So if you've got this board with all those shapes on ready, you can look at something like this, your background, and you can say, right, I want to draw a boat, and I want to draw some dolphins, and I want to draw some fish, and I want to draw some seagulls, and you'll be able to look at those shapes and think, now then, which of those shapes looks like it might make a seagull's body? And this is where your imagination is very useful as well. And we've all got it, it's built in, it's there, you know, and we can use it anytime we want and anywhere. Isn't that amazing? It's free too, it's all just in here. Right, I'm just going to whiz it off with a hairdryer first, just to dry it, because this paint dries by evaporation like watercolours do, but I need it to be very dry before I can chalk on it, so talk amongst yourselves for a moment. Oh, sorry about that, it's a bit loud. There you go. Okey-doke. Right then. Go. So we've got our bit of chalk, yeah, and we're going to think about putting a boat on here and some dolphins and some seagulls and some fish. So a boat shape to me, yeah, is a semicircle. There we are. Look, semicircle. It's a boat shape, yeah, semicircle. That half a circle, so it would be like a full circle, but we only need half. But that's a bit too small. I think I'm going to go bold and I'm going to go big, because going big is always a good idea with art. So here we are. How's that? Big semicircle. Yep, there we go. There it is. And then I am going to use a bit of pink chalk just so you can see it. There's going to be what they call a cabin on this boat, and a cabin is where the steering wheel and things is. So that's going to be a square. Can you see? Just there. Yeah. And it is going to have some windows, and they are going to be little rectangles or oblongs. There they are. See? So the people then that are going to be on the boat, where's my white chalk? There it is. I'm just going to do those very, very simply with triangles. You can see that. 2 triangles there, yeah. And 2 circles for their heads. I'm not going to bother with feet or arms at the moment, no. Well, they'll be in the boat, you see, so that you won't need to see their feet, because the feet will be down there somewhere. And they don't need arms, because they're a long way away, so we can't really see those arms. It doesn't matter too much. Also, I think I'm going to put a dog in at the front here, like that. So he's going to be a triangle as well, and then another little triangle for his head, and 2 little sticks for his ears. And again, don't need his legs or anything, because that's going to be sitting down in the boat. The other thing I'm going to do is just a couple of sticks there for the antennae, the radio antennae for the boat. And I am going to put a circle here with a smaller circle inside, and another one here. These are going to be the life... what do they call them? The life belts, rings, you know, and they're always red and white. We'll colour those in a minute. Then in the sea, we're going to do some fish. Okay, the fish you can have a lot of fun with. And when you're painting like this, you know, and using that wonderful imagination that you've got, you don't need to think, well, you know, I couldn't see under the sea there and see the fish. You can put the fish in where you want. So again, I'm going to do a semicircle, the same shape as the boat there, and then a triangle for the fish's tail. So that's its body, that's its tail. And you can do whatever design and pattern on that you like, yeah? That's quite a big fish, isn't it? So I'm going to do it chasing some smaller fish, yeah? Or following some smaller fish. Just probably wants to play with them, but you never know, it might want to eat them. There's a little story going on there, isn't there? And of course, these people, they've come. I'm going to put a little arm on there, actually pointing out that way. It's just a stick. Yeah, can you see? Yeah, just checking in there that I've got it right. Just pointing that way, because they think they might have seen something there on the horizon. Is that a dolphin, that little blob? Who knows? But the dog, he's looking down here, look, and he has seen something. So how do we draw a dolphin? Well, There's two ways. One is, if you imagine the dolphins, they swim in the sea, but they also like to pop their heads up, don't they? Because they're very inquisitive. So when their heads are popped up, they as well are semicircles, just like that. Look at that, a semicircle. And you can put a line underneath it to show where the sea would be, and they're popping up. And then they have, you just put a little, like a little, not a square, not a circle, just a little lumpy bit for its nose, and then two eyes. Yeah. So that's quite a good little story there, isn't it? These people are looking over there thinking they might have seen something. The dog's looking down here because he has seen something, and they're going to miss it. Right, shall we colour all that in? Because if I wasn't happy with it and I wanted to change it, all I'd have to do is just wipe that. Now this is really dry, because that's the brilliant thing about acrylics. That forms like a plastic skin now, so you literally can't rub it off. She said only a little bit there, but you can certainly rub the chalk off, and then you can put an even bigger fish in if you decided your first fish just wasn't big enough. There, how's that? So now what you do is you colour them in, yeah? The other lovely, lovely thing about acrylics is that even though this is quite dark, isn't it, the blue and the green, when I come to paint on top of it, and I'm going to do this as sort of red colour, I can go on top of that, as long as I've got a little bit of white in the mix, because white makes everything what they call opaque. I'll show you now. With this magenta, so it's quite a pink, it's quite see-through, and you'd still, if I put that on, you still see through it, don't you? But watch now, this is the trick. Get a little bit of white in there. It becomes a pink boat, but it also becomes what they call opaque, yeah? So you can't see through that. Yeah. Let me just grab a little bit of something called, these are the artist paints that I use. This is cadmium red hue. This is a real bright post office pillar box red, and it is gorgeous. Look at that. Sometimes you just need a fix of cadmium red, don't you? Yeah. But look, you know, that's covering, because it's got a little bit of white in there, it's completely covering that blue. And this is the beauty, mum and dads and kids, of acrylics. Yes, they can be a bit messy. They're not expensive, but they are wonderful, because in terms of being, oh look, dropped a bit. In terms of encouraging creativity, they go a long way, because you know you can't make a mistake with them. The worst that could actually happen with this is that I could paint over it all white or all another colour, but I can keep painting over things and having things whatever colour I like, as many layers as I want. And when I do my bigger paintings on canvas, which are around the studio, sometimes I get lots and lots and lots of layers, and I get a lot of texture on it, and it gets really lumpy. Oh, there's one. Oh, I don't know whether you can you see the texture on this? But that just becomes a little bit more interesting, you know, because I might just colour that bit, might become then a boat. So I let the idea of the texture that's behind it actually guide me to the next picture. That's really exciting and interesting. So here we are, that's looking good. I need to just colour in the middle of there as well, don't I? There we go. Right, pop that, give that brush a clean. Let's get some white. The other thing you saw then me use was the brush I used was, it's one of those flat ones again that I've been telling you about, and about the side, of my fingernail there. Because I don't want you to use a tiny, tiny little brush. This is quite important. You know, if you're using a brush like that, it'll be hard to fill in the whole of this picture. But it'll also be very easy for you to make very little marks, and the more little marks you make, the more chance of one of those being not quite what you want. If you just make a few big marks, you've got much more chance of it just natural, nice, happy accidents happening, and you'll get a picture a lot quicker as well. But having said that, you know, some people really like tiny little brushes, and if that's your thing, if that's what makes you smile inside and makes you happy, go for it. Equally, you know, if just putting the paint on with your fingers is your thing and it makes you happy, that's what you should do, because that's what art's about. It's finding what pleases you, what makes you happy, what makes you smile inside, what makes you just, you know, want to say, look what I've done. That's the thing you should chase in your art. You know, once you find that, you should keep going with it, because that's what's going to make your art unique and individual. So colouring that dog in white as well there, and then I'm just going to put some little white blobs on those. Do you remember the life buoys? That's what they're called. Okay, let's get the brush out. And now I'm going to use a tiny little bit of black. And do you remember I've told you, haven't I, about black? It's like the superpower paint, isn't it? It's so strong, so you only ever need the tiniest little bit of it. Yeah. But what I'm going to do with that is just colour those windows in there. And I'm going to make those lines for the antennae. And I'm going to do the people's hair there. And do you remember I said it was a bit of a breeze, a bit of a wind? So let's do that. Let's make it, use that imagination, make the people's hair move around, yeah? Now for the dolphin, I'm also going to colour him in like that, black. And I'm going to put a little bit of white in there in a minute. So I've got the tiniest little bit of paint left on my brush. And if you've got more than just a tiny bit, then wipe it off on your cloth. And then just scrub it underneath there, because do you remember what I said about things? When you have a little bit of shadow underneath things, there's the shadow underneath things there, yeah. And I did just put a little bit under the people, a little bit under the dog. It makes them seem more real. They stand out more if they've got a bit of shadow under there. Okay, there we are. So that also cleans your brush quite nicely too. So with the dolphin there, while that black paint is still just a little bit damp, I've got a little bit of white left on this brush. I'm just going to make that like a grey colour. Yeah, there we go. I think I'll do those little fish that colour as well. This big fish though, I think we need to make him a nice bright colour, don't we? So you can do whatever colour you like. I tell you, some nice orangey pink might be nice for him. A little bit of yellow on those ones as well. What do you think of this new microphone? Is it easier? I was hoping that you might be able to hear my voice better, because I was aware that maybe when I was facing away from you previously that couldn't hear me too well. There we go. Just some bit of there's their nice cardigans they've got on, and a collar for the dog, and colour that in because it could be anything there. How's that for our little story? How's that for a little trip to sea today? Is that a cool breeze in your hair? You can feel that. So feel free, you know, when you do yours, and I would love, love, love to see what you come up with. Feel free. Use those shapes that I showed you, you know. What kind of fish could you do with these, you know? Could you do a fish that shape, or you can use them that way up, you know? You can use their fish that way up. You could do one, you know, this is quite a good shape to use for fish, this diamond shape. Do whatever you like there. Do as many dolphins as you like, you know, as many people in the boat as you like. Make yourself a little story up. But please, yeah, share it with me. Share it on this page. Put it in the comments there. I really would love to see what you're all doing. Okay, I think, let me just check my time here. I think we're getting pretty good at this, aren't we? That's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this art class, this little trip to the beach. I certainly have. It's really cooled me down a bit. I'm going to go have a cup of tea now and look at any comments and questions you've got. As I said, have a look at my website there on the free resources. So helenelliott.net, look on the menu there, free resources. And if anybody was on the website last night, I don't know why, my menu disappeared. I've just put a new one up today, it's there. Also, on this page, on the 1st of May, I'm going to be announcing the new online workshops, which I'm super excited about. Really excited. Yeah, I think that's it. So lovely of you all to join me. I really appreciate it. 33 of you, 34 have hung on till the end, but you can always watch this again any time you like. Yeah, so thank you once again for your company. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. Bye for now.